Hey there, how's it going? davidinark here with what's going to be a mostly comprehensive overview of BeamNG version. This is alpha 0.30.x. All right, so this is version alpha 30. It's been a while since we've done a comprehensive update, and I'm going to cover each of the items that are in here. The only thing I won't be able to cover is VR, because I don't have a VR headset. I know, it's 2023. What's the matter with me? Anyhow, let's start by going through each of these icons so that you have an idea of what each menu item does. Free roam is where most people spend most of their time in BeamNG. In free roam, this is where you will pull up any maps that you have. Maps that come with the game will have the little BeamNG icon, and maps that you download from various mod sites, such as the repository, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Those will show up in the list, but will not have any kind of little icon, right? So Caldera Bay, the Soapbox, Car Jump Arena. Once you choose a map for free roaming, we'll pick Hirochi Raceway. When you pick a free roam map, then most of the time you will have an option as to where you actually want to drop into the map. So from there, you pick where you want to start. For in this case, we'll just pick starting line, and you hit spawn, and the game will load up that map and spawn you in your default vehicle at the point that you chose. All right, once your vehicle is spawned in, then you are on the map and you are free to drive around. Now, I am going to say this. If this is your first time playing BeamNG, then your default vehicle is actually going to be a D-Series pickup truck. So how do I change my default car? How do I even look at other cars? Well, the way you look at other cars, you hit escape on the keyboard, and then from there I can go to vehicles, and from vehicles I can see a list of all of the vehicles that I have in the game. Now, I will tell you, this is a little confusing in this version. In previous versions, vehicles that came with BeamNG also had the little BeamNG logo. For whatever reason, they no longer have that icon. Vehicle selector also includes what they call props. So props are anything that, for whatever reason, goes under the vehicle section, but are not actually vehicles. So soccer ball, bathtub, refrigerator, why not? But in the meantime, you have other trailers that you can add. You've got buses. I mean, there's all kinds of vehicles. You can also get other vehicles from the repository. So if you're into old school 80s big cars, they got the code name Olds Full Size. Wholeheartedly recommend that mod, by the way. But other things as well, like the ME262 is a jet mod. It's got a bunch of different jets in there. A lot of fun. So what you do is, once you choose a vehicle, then inside that vehicle family, you will see the different versions of that vehicle that are available to you. Okay, so if I wanted to pull in this Burnside dragster, I just click on that, and then I have two options down in the lower corner. Well, let me back up. Excuse me. Once I pick a car, over on the right-hand side, I have the option to change colors. Now, I will tell you, your mileage may vary, especially with mods. You may pick another color, but that color may not actually change. But you'll notice it gives you some information about the vehicle. At the top, over here on the right, you have overview, which is where, again, you have the color, you got the factory, all that kind of stuff. You also have a performance tab, so that'll tell you the 0 to 60, the braking distance, top speed, all of that good stuff. Once you've got your car selected and your color selected, then at the bottom I can spawn new, which means that the game will spawn in a copy of this car, leaving whatever other vehicles on the map are still on the map. Replace current means whatever vehicle you happen to be looking at the time or controlling at the time, then it will replace that. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to replace current. And now there you go. I've got my orange drag Burnside ready to roll. Now, in free roam, it is exactly that. It is free roam. And that means that you drive around and do what you want. So if I slam on the gas and I don't steer, I crash into the wall. While you are in free roam, let me back up just a minute. While you are in free roam, then you can also do other things. So I hit escape and you have this radial menu. Now I will tell you that if you've got a controller, you have a button that will also pull up this menu, and I don't know what that button is. It's going to depend on how it's assigned to your system. But you can use this radial menu to add different things to the vehicle or to do different things to the vehicle while you are in free roam. So, for example, I can click on the wrench for manage, and this is the equivalent of going up here to vehicle. So this allows me to select a new vehicle, as you see. I can also go home, which means reset to where this vehicle spawned in, which of course is right where we are. So there we go. I can also set a new home spawn point. So let me show you what that looks like. If I were to drive down here a little ways, and for whatever reason, instead of spawning at the starting point, if I cruise down here, and I decide that we're going to start here, this is where I want my new home to be, I would go to manage, set home, and now if I were to drive off and crash ourselves into the wall, thank you very much, as soon as I come in here and manage and go home, you'll notice that I respawn back at my new spawn point, not the original home spawn point. So, something to think about. I also have the option to clone a vehicle, and that does exactly what you think it does. When I click on clone, it makes a copy of the car that I am currently controlling, and now I have two of them in the game. Woohoo! All right. And then now that I have two cars in the game, you'll notice that I have a switch option. And that's literally what it does. That lets me switch between controlling the two vehicles, in this case, that I have in the game. Likewise, I can also delete a vehicle. So if I don't want this second one in here anymore, I remove it, and I'm back to the one vehicle. Awesome stuff. All right, I can also do stuff with the powertrain, right? I could change the gearbox mode, whether I want it to be realistic or I want it to be arcade. Realistic means that you will have to actually shift. Arcade means that the game will do all the shifting for you. I can also do the line lock enabled, right? So rear right, rear left brakes. There we go. The lines are locked at 30% in this particular case, or that's disabled. I've got my trans brake. Again, a lot of it depends on what these options are. It also depends on what's available in the vehicle. And then whether I want the engine started or not. So I just killed the engine. Yay. Why not, right? Oops. Sorry, wrong button. All right, so let's start up the engine again. There we go. All right, so the engine is started up. You have cruise control options. You can toggle cruise control on or off. You can cancel cruise control. You can resume speed up cruise control, or you can set slow down. You also have AI options, and AI is generally for traffic. So I can go to traffic, and then I can spawn in two different types of traffic. Spawn with police is exactly what it sounds like. It will spawn in AI traffic, including police, who will chase you if you're doing wrong. And then there's regular spawn, which allows you to spawn in just regular vehicles. And this is great for just driving around traffic generally, but it's also really cool if you are the police, then you can go chase other folks. For now, let's go ahead and spawn in traffic with police cars. All right, so you can see that I have spawned in vehicles, and the game actually spawned them in. I didn't pick them. It randomly picks vehicles that you have in your game. And you see some of them are police. Now, if I were to... Whoops. All right, I crashed into the police car. They are now pursuing me, and you will see that all of the police are not coming after me. The other thing that you see is that the traffic will generally pull off to the side and get out of the police car's way. Now, for the sake of argument, oh, that's not good, right? Okay, so the police stop me. Notice that I've been busted, offenses, police collision, wrong way, etc. Oh, hey, now I didn't do that, and now I can drive away. I don't think I can. I'm just going to go on a limb, say I can't. However, if I hit the home key on my keyboard or bring up the Radial menu and hit home, that will reset me back to my home position. Back to the Radial menu. All right, once again, once you have AI, now, once you have AI enabled in the game, you can also do other things. Like, you can tell all the AI to stop, and AI will stop doing whatever it's doing. You can have AI follow paths randomly. There's one that will flee, and that means that they will always try to get away from you. Chase you is exactly what it is. All AI will try to chase you, not just the police cars. Follow you means that the AI will attempt to follow you without crashing into you, which is really cool if you want like AI-based. It really works kind of fun with crawler maps, where you try to get the AI to follow you up a path, which is hilarious. And then we still have the traffic menu. Now, within here, you can stop traffic, start traffic. Again, you can spawn more vehicles if you wish, or you can remove all the traffic altogether. Under fun stuff, we can do all kinds of things to the car. We can deflate the tires. So we just did. I can go back to fun stuff. I can explode the car. That's always fun. I can break the car. We can extinguish the fire. And let's just hit home so that we don't do that. All right, after that, now we can also do fire, which is not quite the explosion. It just sets the car on fire. So there you go. That's always fun. We'll extinguish that. Thank you. We have the force field, which if you've never played with force field before, let me try this. All right, so we've got the force field activated. I'm going to see. What I don't remember is if the force field works backwards. Oh, yes, it does. So as you can see, as I'm getting closer to these vehicles, it is pushing these other cars out of the way because I have a force field. And it definitely works forward. I just didn't know if it worked backward. I couldn't remember. So much fun. That is cool. All right, so that's force field. Hinges. All my hinges broke. So there you go with that. We can also do, you can open latches. So anything that is openable by you. You'll notice that if I move my mouse over certain parts of the vehicle, they have latches. And so I can open and close different pieces, different parts rather, all right, of my vehicle. So again, I had open all the latches, but then I can also do the reverse. I can go into fun and I can tell it to close all the latches. And there you go with that. Awesome stuff. All right, so that is fun stuff. Very cool. You have an electrics. So if I had a light bar on top, if I was in a police car or a rescue vehicle, I could toggle the light bar. I can toggle, let me see if we can figure this out. So I can toggle my signals. I can do left, right. All right, so I got my turn signals there. I can also turn on fog lamps if I have fog lamps. I don't have any on this vehicle. We have headlights, which I can do headlights. Looks like a smiley face. So I got low beams, high beams, no beams. All right. I do my hazard lights. Now, I'm doing all this with the Radial menu. You can actually do these with keyboard and or controllers. We'll talk about that in a minute here. While we are here in free roam, and I know I'm spending a lot of time in free roam, but there's a lot of stuff you can do in free roam. So Again, once I hit escape here, I can go to the map, and I can pull up the map, or you can hit M for the map as well. If you hit M, it does this cool zoom out thing. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And these are points of interest, and you'll see them down the left-hand side here. And so these are different things that you can do on the map in free roam. So if I wanted to go to the rock crawling course, the figure 8 oval, the pit lane, notice that there are places, there's a single, in this case, gas station. Notice that there are some AI races that you can look at as well, that you can participate in. You can also do some crawl. You can do a crawl. There's a drift track on here, and you can also do a long jump over the sign. All right, I'm going to quick travel to that. I don't know. View the details. All right, so keep your foot on the pedal and stay in the curve before taking to the skies. So one of the cool things about these missions is that in the settings, many of them will ask you, do you want to use the vehicle? The proposed vehicle is not the vehicle you're in necessarily. It is the vehicle that whoever developed this mission, they propose you use the vehicle that they selected. If you say no, then it's going to use your default vehicle, not the vehicle you're in, but your default vehicle. So if you need to, then you can switch to a vehicle, make it the default, and then come back and do this. Just for the sake of argument, sure, let's use the proposed vehicle. Okay, keep your foot on the pedal and stay in the curve before taking to the skies. All right, here we go. In a bolide, cruising down the road, and I'm just going to go for a jump, period. Okay, I'm not, there's no way I'm going to get anything worth anything because I do not control the bolide well at all. There we go. We got some distance. Let's just see how far we get. All right. Well, 500 and... Oh, it's still going to count my distance even while I am rolling? Oh, well, that's very handy. Boom. 757. I'll take it. Awesome. Look at that. 757. We got all of the objectives. Beautiful. It said I was going to get a gold medal. I didn't get a gold medal. Where's my gold medal? Once you complete a mission, you can either retry it, you can continue from this point, or you can continue from where that challenge started. Now, so for the sake of argument, let's just say I say continue here. If I continue here, it's going to get me out of that scenario or out of that mission, and now I am driving the bolide. So again, that was with map. Then here you have mods, and we will actually take a look at mods through the main menu, but this is another way to get to mods. Vehicles we've looked at on how to select vehicles. One of the other things you can do is when you are in free roam, you pull up the menu, you can go to vehicle config, and here you can actually change what you want in or on your car depending on, what you want to do. The rear body. For the sake of argument, I don't even want the rear body on the car. Oh, look at that. That's one of my favorite configs, by the way. I love that. It's open. It's very cool. So, anyhow, there you go. From here, by the way, if I wanted to save this configuration, then you'll notice over at the top on the left-hand side, there's a save and load. I can click on save and load, and I can give it a file name, bolide open. And I save it, then that is going to save that vehicle. Okay. So that now, that's funny, I already have one. So now if I wanted to, here's one that I called open back bolide. I can click on load, and there we go. Okay, so that was one I'd already saved. All right, so that's under vehicle config. Again, you can change the tuning. So let me back up. So you have parts where you've got the part tree, and you can cycle through the different parts. Tuning, you can adjust brakes, chassis, differentials, engine, suspension, tire pressure, your transmission ratios. I mean, this simulation has it all. You can adjust anything as minutely as you want to. Likewise, you can change the color of things. So most vehicles tend to have primary and secondary colors. Sometimes there's a tertiary color. Yeah, in this case, this one has, right? So, very cool stuff. And by the way, you can adjust like the brightness. Okay, so all kinds of different things you can do with the color of the vehicle. Environment is awesome. You can change it to where you have sunrise, noon, afternoon, sunset, night. You can also control the hour. If I use the little slider, I can change the hour of the day. All right. You can also play through the entire daytime, nighttime cycle. So if you're wanting to drive around and let it play through the cycle, what is the scale for day and night? You also have weather, so we can increase cloud cover if we'd like. We can also change fog density if you'd like. The cloud speed can change. And then, of course, we have fun things like gravity, zero gravity, Earth, moon, which doesn't, a lot of these you aren't going to really notice much of anything until you're like jumping or driving around. But you also have simulation speed and the tire marks. So really cool stuff you can do with the environment. The next button we have over here is photo mode. When you go to photo mode, you're going to hold down the right mouse button. And while I'm holding down the right mouse button and moving the mouse, I can move the camera. I can use WASD to position the camera. Takes a little getting used to. Sorry if I'm making you sick. All right. Then you'll notice that over on the right-hand side, we have the field of view that we can adjust. You can adjust the camera speed. You can change the roll. Right. So the pitch and roll there for the camera. You can adjust the time of day. This is just for photo mode, by the way. This won't affect in-game. As soon as I get out of this, it resets to what you had. I can have my bloom threshold, my depth of field control, so I can have my near strength blur. Right, I can have far strength blur. So if I really want to blur out that background, my focal distance, I can pull that way in, I can push that way out. Okay. All kinds of different effects that you can do with your camera. And then you can take a screenshot, normal, big, and huge, and that's the size of the file. So if I do a huge screenshot. Now, the kicker about taking a screenshot is that when you click the mouse button, you don't want to move the mouse because sometimes there's a delay in taking the picture and it will actually move your camera. So I click huge, I wait a moment, it takes a picture, and that has been saved into the snapshots folder in my BeamNG folder. All right, so that is photo mode. You'll notice that there's also a section here for UI apps. Anything you have on the screen is a UI app. And the way that the UI apps work is when I go to UI apps, I want to be able to edit apps if I want to change where they are on the screen. So, for example, if I didn't want my speedometer in the lower right-hand corner, I could move it over to, say, the left-hand corner or the left-hand side maybe. You'll also notice that in the lower right-hand corner there is an arrow, meaning that I can resize this. So if I think it's too big, I can always knock down the size. And then once I've got it set somewhere, then at this point I can just go to back. And then when I escape out of the radial menu, you'll notice that now my speedometer is over on the left-hand side. Still can't drive worth jack. Actually, my whole steering wheel is acting weird. Anyway. So again, I hit escape, go to UI apps, edit apps. I can put this back to where I want it. I can make it bigger if I want. All right, so let's say that there's an app that you want to add. So let me give you an example. Hang on. So if I go back here, this airspeed and distance, these two apps are not normally in the game. I have to add those. So if I go to UI apps, and I'm going to edit these, I'm going to hit the red X's to take those off. So now, just to show you, they're no longer in my game. However, if I go to UI apps, add apps, and now what I can do is there are all kinds of different apps that you can add into BeamNG. Over on the right hand side is a search function. So if I wanted airspeed, I can start to type air, and you notice I have a digital air speedometer. And now the kicker about this is when they pop in, you got to figure out where the heck it went. And so in this case, it's way over here. So I'm going to grab this, and we're just going to put it down here. And then the other app that I had in there was Trip Computer. So once I've got Trip Computer, I hit escape a couple of times. Yeah, there we go. So I have my total distance. The little thing here can reset this. I can also just click on this in general, and it'll show me other stats. All right, so that covers free roam. Next, we're going to talk about campaigns. Now, campaigns come with BeamNG. There are a few. You can get more from the repository and add those in. But with campaigns, they are essentially a series of scenarios. So, for example, senseless destruction, the cliff descent. All right, so we're going to try to destroy this vehicle by jumping off anywhere, and the further down you go, the more points you get, and the more destruction that you do to the car, the more points you get. So we hit start. Wow, that did not go well at all. Let's try this again. Maybe if we aim down this way. There we go, there we go. How about that? Send that bad boy off of the cliff. And again, these are scenarios. And so what's going to happen is after we get past this one, once we get past this one, then it will automatically take us to a different senseless destruction scenario. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Ripping the car to shreds. Thank you very much. How did we do this time? Well, all right, we definitely did the damage, but altitude could have been a little better. That's okay. Notice in the bottom right-hand corner, we got next. I'm going to go next, and it's going to bring up the next scenario. So we've got drag race this time, and it's going to be us against, win the race. All right, so best time is 1,000 points. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm good. Can we just start now? Yeah, win the race. I get it. Start the freaking thing. Thank you. Yeek. Okay, we are in the sunburst. And I know what you're thinking. How in the world are we ever going to beat that car? But you'll notice it is on fire. Yes. So the situation here is that dude explodes, and essentially, whoa, you just got to make sure that you don't hit him. Now, your car is also going to get destroyed, but the important thing is you cross the finish line. Look at there. Okay, go back to the main menu. Again, those are campaigns, and you just work through the entire campaign. All right. Now, next up we have scenarios. So scenarios are just one-off situations. So where you had back here where you had campaigns, which was a series of events, a scenario is pretty much one event. So in this case, you have things like Dockside Dart, Jungle Rumble, Desert Hauler, there's Super Speed. I mean, they got all kinds of cool different scenarios where you are charged with completing a particular task. All right, a huge delivery truck is speeding recklessly through the area. Take it down any way you can. The truck is far heavier than your car, but also far slower. Try to use its weight, momentum, and high center of gravity against it. Yeah. By the way, we are in the Grand Marshal police car, which is truly classic. I mean, this is almost ye old, come on, grand, come on. Oh, I crashed my vehicle. At the end of the day, what matters is that he can't stop. Ah, you big doofus. Oh, hey, listen. Just sit there. You're done. Thank you very much. So, there you have it. The delivery truck takedown. All right. Let's go back to the menu. Back to the main menu. So those are scenarios. You also have time trials. Now, what's cool about time trials is you actually will pick your own map. So if I pick a map, just for the sake of argument, here's an East Coast, you can see that there are different time trials that are available to you. So if I want to do the Sawmill Long time trial, I've picked the map, I've picked the layout, I can pick which vehicle that I want to try to run this particular course through. So for example, if I decide to pick a Roamer, I don't know, adventure, why not? All right. Do I want to go reverse or forward? So reverse, no. I'm going to do 3 laps. What time do we want? And at this point, I can just hit play. And here we go. When you get dropped into the time trial, then you just hit start, and it'll count you in, and you drive around. Come on. And you can see the, whoa. I was going to say, you can see the markers where it is telling you where to go. Interesting that there's a no materials there. I must have a mod that is messing with the game. Oh, that's not good. Oh, nope, I've messed up my truck. But then you can see here that bling, that is 1 lap. Oh, man, yeah, my truck is complete. In any case, that is how that would work. Although you would actually try to succeed. All right, so there is also a garage in BeamNG. And what's cool about the garage is that you can go in here and, much like some of the other menus that we saw in free roam, I can go in here and I can change different aspects of the vehicle. Basically do a lot of the stuff you can do in the vehicle config, but you do this in the kind of cool, I don't know, the cool environment of being in a garage. There's also a really cool feature called bus routes. And with bus routes, you come into a particular map. You can select the map. And then once you select the map, you come down here and you select which route that you want that bus to take. So, for example, if we do One Star Diner, sure, why not? Then, of course, you can pick which bus you want. And there are a variety of buses that come with BeamNG. Do we want traffic or not? Yes, I'm going to do traffic, because why not? Strict stops means that you have to stop within the specified area. No means that, like, if you get close, you're close enough. I think strict stops also means that you have to tow the bus. And by that I mean TOE, meaning you have to use the G key in order to let the air out to lower the bus to the curb. I think that's right. We'll find out. All right, so once you are loaded in, then you can hit start. And this will guide you to where you are meant to go. So we will drive down here, and you'll see that we're coming up to our first stop. So I've got to park inside. All right, and then I've got to kneel the bus, G, so you notice that the bus got lowered, and open the doors. waiting for the passengers to board. Then we close the doors, raise the bus back up. Awesome. And we head to the next stop. All right. The next menu item we have is Light Runner, and this is a very fun, cool kind of scenario. You have Glow City. Let me go back. Sorry. So you have Glow City as your map option, and that's, as far as I know, that's the only map you can do in Glow Runner. I think that's right. Anyway, so then you have different tracks that you can do. So, for example, if we do Krypton Raceway, then you've got the SBR Power Glow, and we're just going to tell it play from here. And this is a really cool, fun, different way to play BeamNG altogether. So, here you go. You are in Glow City with this neon lit SBR4. And the idea is to just drive around and do your best and figure out where the heck everything is. Because there you go. So cool, though. Whoop, okay. That was not smart. But again, this is Glow City. And it allows you to drive around through the checkpoints in the glowing, fictional Japanese city. Oh, we're off the edge. Well, that's not good. And now, if I go to the main menu from here and we do Track Builder. Track Builder allows you to create your own custom tracks. I'm going to say Start Track Builder here. You'll notice that we are given a piece of track. I can use WASD to move around. I can also hold the right mouse button and move the mouse around while I'm holding that to get a better camera view. I've done entire videos about Track Editor, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of it here. But essentially what it lets you do is create a track. I don't remember. Let's see, that's making it longer. Oh, height. So what I'm doing here is I am actually increasing the height of that piece of track. Now, there is an option, I thought. Oh, yeah, close. There you go. So it does the best it can if you just hit close. There you go. So I can test it. At this point, I have created this little track. And I'm not paying attention whatsoever. All right. You can do all kinds of cool things with this track creation. However, as far as I'm aware, all of the track has to be connected. And the easiest way to get rid of this track editor stuff on the screen is just go to the main menu, go to free roam, pick any other map, even if it's the same map we just picked, and just hit, spawn into that map, and then that gets rid of that. All right, so back to the main menu. So we have Track Builder. We have Career Mode. Now, you notice that it says coming soon. Okay, that's not true. It is, but it's also here. If you click on Career and click on the little flag about 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, you get an experimental career mode. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Now, please know that career mode is very experimental, and anytime they change anything, you will lose all of your progress. That's just the way it is. Okay, so once you get into career mode, then you can go to the auto dealer and purchase a vehicle. And we go in here, open up the dealership. All right, so I have 13,500 Beam Coin or whatever they're called. So you can see the vehicles that are available to me. The I-Series, the 200BX, or the Covet. We'll just, sure. Oh, I can inspect the vehicle. So there you go. I can come out here and I can take a look at the vehicle on the lot. I could start a test drive if I want to. Here's the purchase info. How much is it? Dealership fees, sales tax, etc. And I can deliver this vehicle to my garage. Nope, I'll just buy it. And there you go. I bought my first car in career mode. Again, there's been other videos about career mode. I just wanted to show you that career mode actually is in the game. It's just kind of hidden. That covers the main items that you have here on your screen, the main buttons. We also have replays, which allow you to, one of the things you can do in BeamNG is you can record what you're playing in BeamNG, and then you can replay that. Please note, replays are not video captures of your game. It's literally capturing what's happening in the game. If you want a video of that, then you'll have to use video capture software in order to grab that. And we'll look at replays. Matter of fact, we'll just look at replays right here. Okay, so once you've spawned into a map, you can hit Alt-R, and you'll notice that it has a new replay recording. What this does is it records everything that is going on in the game at the time you record. So, as I'm driving around, it's recording what I'm doing. As AI is driving around, it is recording what AI is doing. I can hit Alt-R again to stop the replay. Now, if I go back to the main menu and I pull up replays, then you'll see that I've got this replay here. So if I hit play, then as I'm watching the screen, it is playing back whatever my car was doing. I am not driving right now. This is replaying what was recorded. So if I want to hit, say, Shift C, I can pull out the camera and I can position this anywhere I want to, and I can watch what's happening through the replay. Again, if I wanted to put this on YouTube, I would have to use screen recording software such as OBS or the NVIDIA, whatever their thing is called, Shadow Play or whatever they call it now. Whatever I wanted to use to record the actual video, then that's what I would use to actually put this on YouTube. Let's talk about repository. Repository is the official, in quotes, place to get mods for BeamNG. So in the repository, you can see that there are all kinds of different vehicles, add-ons. So for example, here's a city bus that's electric. Here's fancy wheels. Here's paintable door handles, demolition derby, Bruckle Sable wagon. I mean, there's all kinds of different vehicles here. If you have an idea of what you're looking for, then you can go over to the search function and you could tell it to search. So for example, if you're looking for that Olds full-size vehicle, I could type Olds and hit search, and you'll notice that there is the Olds full-size Caprice wagon police pack, code name Olds full-size. There's all kinds of the full-size stuff in there. You can also attempt to look for things like, I don't know, do we have DeLoreans? Okay, so there's a CVP pack that says DeLorean. One of the things you'll notice is that you're not likely to find brand name vehicles in the repository due to copyright issues. So you may just want to be aware of that. So here's the truck, the family truckster. So let's say that you want one of these. I want the family truckster. You'll notice that they have the little blue circle with a plus in it. You can hit plus, and that will subscribe you to the mod. What that means is that it will download the mod, and anytime the mod gets an update, it should automatically update. So that is the repository tab up here in the middle. Over on the left-hand side is the mods manager. These are all of the mods you have installed in your game. Now you'll notice that they've got some icons here. So if I scroll down, notice that over here, this Chevy Avalanche and Laser Playground and Dangerous Roads, plus all of these over here, they've all been deactivated. And you'll notice that the minus sign has a slash through it. That means they are not active in the game, and I cannot access those. If they don't have that, if they just look like, regular orange and red, then that means that they are actively in the game at this point. And so I can click on that, and it's going to tell me some more information about it. I can unsubscribe, which means remove it. I can unpack it if I'm going to do some further modification to it, or I can deactivate it if for whatever reason I don't want it in the game. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm in the game. We saw this before. I can go to in my manage, and then I'm going to select, and from select I now have the family truckster. Okay, I don't know why it wouldn't search, but anyway. Okay, so if we come in here, we find the family truckster, and I spawn a new family truckster. That is not at all what it looks like. So I might be able to go to paint design. Oh, yeah. Huh. I picked a bad mod. That happens sometimes. So in that case, I would want to go out here and I would just say, you know what? Never mind. It doesn't work. I don't care. I don't feel like messing with it. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so the other thing you can look at is over on the right-hand side, we have automation. And automation is a separate program that allows you to create vehicles from scratch and then export them into BeamNG Drive. So, for example, if I wanted to grab this 1949 Imperial Eagle hot rod, we will download this mod. And now if I go to Vehicles, then from here, I can scroll through and I can find that Imperial Eagle hot rod. I don't know if you can change the actual colors or not. Let's find out. I don't know. Let's make it green. Sure, why not? And we'll spawn a new one. And there you go. I love the white wall tires and everything. That's hilarious. Okay, so there you go. Oops. Oh, well, we crushed it. Of course, you got credits, which is, always awesome. Give credit to the creators of the game. There you go. Nope, I don't know how to, okay. And then, of course, we have options. And options cover a whole slew of things to look at. So if I go over to the left-hand side under display, do you want it full screen? Do you want it borderless window? Do you want it window? How do you want this to display? If you've got multi-monitors, you can do multi-monitors along with resolutions and refresh rates. Adjust your gamma should you want to. It's got multi-monitor render, so if you've got more than one monitor, it will actually spread it across those monitors. Your mileage may vary. Also, do you want to vertical sync? Do you want to limit your frame rates? So different things. Some of this stuff is very handy. If you've got a lower performing PC, then some of the stuff may help you actually play the game better. So you definitely want to look at that. I do not have a virtual reality headset, as I mentioned before. If I did, though, then VR is currently in an experimental stage. You can play around with VR. Again, different things that you've got in here. Driver cams, all kinds of different interface options, and so forth. A lot of this stuff you'll probably never mess around with, but it's in here should you decide you want to play around with that. Under graphics, what quality do you want from lowest to ultra? What kind of anisotropic filtering? Do you want anti-aliasing? Do you want bloom effects? All this other type of stuff. Motion blur, that's up to you. Do you want it on or not? I like it for certain instances, and for some things, I don't particularly care for motion blur. So again, you can turn it off, you can turn it on. There you go. There are some other things down here. I was trying to see if there was something. One of the things you can look at here, like the skip generation of license plates. If you turn that on, then you don't have to worry about license plates. Again, it'll help performance of your game. All right. The user interface. Are you using Imperial or Metric, British or Custom? Do you want automatic mod updates? We had talked about mods before. Do you want them to automatically update anytime they update those? Again, you have other options down in here as well. Show the challenge markers. That is in a map where you've got places where you can go. If you don't want to see those in the game, you can uncheck that. Language, of course. What language do you want? Your audio settings. Controls. This is probably one of the places you'll spend the most time and get the most frustrated. So let me just talk about controls. Certain controls are tied to certain aspects of the game. So a vehicle may have certain controls. For example, in this case, your throttle. I can use the up arrow on my keyboard, but I also have Y-axis, which happens to be the pedal on my steering system. Likewise with brake, down or R-axis. So sometimes if you've got something that you want to do and you can't seem to make a key or find a key for it, come in here into controls and look for whatever it is you're trying to find. So for example, like there's not a flash high beam headlight control. So if I wanted that, then I could click on the unassigned, and then the next key that I tap is going to be flash headlights. So for example, if I wanted it to be, I don't know, control slash. All right. So now control slash is flash headlights. So if I apply that and just real quickly get back to the game, assuming the headlights work, if I do control, so you notice that, right? So I hold control and I tap the slash key and I can flash my headlights. Okay. So there you go. I just assigned that for no reason whatsoever. Under gameplay, competitive scenario conditions, if you have it checked, then that means that you cannot put your own vehicle into a scenario. If you uncheck this, back when we looked at the main menu and we were looking at scenarios, these come with preset vehicles. But if you go into the options for your gameplay and you uncheck that, then you can actually swap out whatever vehicles are in the scenario. That makes scenarios way more fun, at least in my opinion. It definitely gives a whole lot more replayability because you can swap out the different vehicles to do what you want to do. Multi-seat. If you're not aware, BeamNG has built-in multiplayer, but it is multi-seat, and that means that one person is most likely using a controller and the other person is most likely using the keyboard, but you can play together. It does a split screen. It's very cool stuff. Different things are in here. Do you want realistic ABS? You can have the default gearbox. So if you prefer arcade, which means that it automatically shifts for you, then set that as the default. If you prefer that they are manual transmission every time, then do realistic. And that will be the default for every time you spawn in a vehicle. So, and there are other options in here as well. Again, you scroll through here, see what you want. Traffic, the maximum amount of vehicles. I recommend automatic until you figure out kind of where your system sits. but you can also bump that up to however many you want. So if you want it to, always spawn in 11 vehicles when you do AI, then you can do that as well. I usually leave that on auto. It spawns in around 6 to 8 vehicles on my computer, so your mileage may vary. Vehicle pooling, it'll spawn extra traffic vehicles and then cycle their visible or hidden states. What this does is, instead of you seeing the same vehicles all the time when you are running AI, if you check this box, then it stores additional vehicles in memory, and then as vehicles despawn, it will spawn from the pool, giving you a variety of vehicles in the game. Again, your mileage may vary, depends up to you. Maximum amount of parked vehicles. You notice on this map there are parked vehicles. That's also part of spawning in AI. Parked vehicles basically are skeleton vehicles. They're just basically the shell and enough of the vehicle to make it look like a vehicle. They don't drive, they don't move around, so they're not as memory intensive as an actual drivable vehicle. Other things, allow mods to spawn. If you don't want mods to be able to spawn as AI, you want to uncheck that box. Okay, again, more stuff. You have other camera options as well. So you'll notice that down the left-hand side, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are the keys that you can press to change your camera. So 1 is orbit, 2 is driver, 3 is onboard/hood, 4 is an external camera that is kind of like a TV camera type thing. 5 is relative. Relative means that wherever I position this camera, and it can be a little weird. Well, in fact, if I hit home. So the camera will always stay right there, like no matter what I do. So I'm driving the car. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm driving the car as if I'm sitting, well, right on the little hump in between. So there you go. But there's also a chase cam, which the chase cam is kind of like orbit, except let me go back to orbit. So with orbit, I'm behind the car, but I can hold my mouse button, my right mouse button down, and I can move around while I am driving. So I can literally orbit the vehicle. Yeah, get out of my way. All right. Chase, I can't do anything. Well, I mean, I guess I can sort of move side to side, kind of. But basically, the camera is positioned always on the tail of the vehicle. So it's a lot like a lot of racing games. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. I just don't like it. I'm much more of an orbit person. But you can also do top down, which is kind of cool. Or would be if I knew where my car was. I don't know why it's not showing me. There must be an issue with the map itself. Top down usually shows you your vehicle from the top down. I don't know where my car went. Anyway, there you go. And you can play with those. You'll notice that I've got several options that are checked. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that means, yeah. So that means if I hit C to cycle through, notice it is not cycling through 4 to 7 because I don't have those checked. But you can change that if you want to. And, of course, you can always add cameras. You can remove cameras. You can do all kinds of stuff. Then for each of the cameras, orbit, chase, driver, you can change different aspects depending on what that camera allows you to do. Okay. By the way, free cam is Shift C. If I do Shift C, WASD will move around. Right mouse button while dragging will rotate. So you can also free cam. Again, Shift C will turn on or turn off free cam. Under the other options, you have controller input, force feedback. Do you want to hide the steering wheel? Do you want your Steam name for your license plate? Do you want to automatically record challenge attempts? All kinds of stuff. I mean, there's just all kinds of other things that you can do in BeamNG. All right, so one of the things I want to talk about that's a little beyond beginner is World Editor. And to bring up the World Editor, once you're in a map, you hit F11, and that will open the World Editor environment. Now in here, I'm holding down my right mouse button and I can drag around. Also, I can use WASD to move. You will see in World Editor, there are all kinds of icons all over the place. You'll notice that there are also different folders and options, and depending on the map that you loaded in, that'll determine kind of what shows up over here in the scene tree on the left-hand side. You've also got an inspector, an asset browser. Basically, World Editor allows you to make whatever changes you want to the map. So, for example, if I were to just zoom out over here, I want to go find, let's do this. All right. So, we see where the water is, right? You see this nice little river down here. Well, what I could do is I could click on the river, in this case, ocean. And what I should be able to do, there we go. When I clicked on it, if I use my mouse to look around, you notice that I have this series of arrows and stuff up here. If I go to the top, there's a translate option. There's also rotate, which you can't rotate the water, but if I have the translate selected, then I could actually hover my mouse on the blue up arrow and I can drag up, and notice that now I have severely increased the water level inside the game. Now, depending on where we're sitting, that may not affect much of anything. Okay? Right? Because, I mean, it doesn't look like it. It looks like the ocean, honestly, was a little lower. Oh, I'll tell you what, though. The ocean probably, by raising that up, we probably just wiped out an entire town. Hang on. There is somewhere along here. Yeah. Somewhere along here. See here? See how this road goes down? Somewhere along this. Let's come back down a little bit. Oh yeah, okay. So we covered that entire road. There is this little village over here as well, where if we adjust the water, we just sank the entire village or the entire map. Okay. Or notice that if I lower it, I just basically, for all intents and purposes, removed the water from the map. Why would you want to do this? I don't know. I'm just showing you these are things you can do. There are other certain aspects that you can click on and you can move around. For example, if I wanted to, we could relocate this building just by moving it over a little one way or another. Right? So you can move stuff around in BeamNG. One of my favorite things, to be perfectly blunt, is to come in here and so one of the cool things is you don't have to actually delete things. I could click on this little eyeball over here, and now that bridge is no longer visible to the game. You'll notice it is no longer there. And if I spawn my vehicle in here, if I'm not mistaken, at some point, now I know the line still shows it's going across, but if I'm not mistaken, at some point that line actually does disappear. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There's a way to do that too. Forgive me, I don't remember off the top of my head. Likewise, I can go back into F11, and that happens to be the last thing I selected, so I can re-show it, and the bridge is back. There you go. Just use with caution. Please be careful out there. All right, now let's talk about multiplayer. BeamNG Drive does not have multiplayer built in, but you can have multiplayer with BeamNG. And one of the easiest ways is to go to beammp.com, download the BeamMP installer client, save that to your computer. Once that is done, I can go up to my downloads and I can click on the installer and double click the installer. English, I accept the agreement. Next, 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 all that good stuff. Launch the BeamNP launcher, and it will update itself as it needs to, and then it will launch the game. You will notice that now that I have multiplayer installed, there is a multiplayer option in my game. If I click on multiplayer, that will connect to the public BeamNG multiplayer servers, and you can feel free to look through here at any of the ones you want to. You'll notice that they have number of players. So in this case, there are 9 out of 10. The second number is the maximum number allowed on that particular server. And you can see scrolling through here, there are all kinds of servers available, all kinds of different tracks. And some of the tracks will have different features. Some of them have mods that the host is providing for that map. Some of them will be what's called vanilla, and they'll have no mods with them at all. So just for the sake of argument, here's a grid map V2 map. If I click on any of these, if you click, it'll tell you, if I click on any of these, they'll tell you how many mods are associated with the map and what those mod names are and how big that is. So for example, if we pick one like this, see there are 3 mods that are in here, and the mods are almost 3 gigs. You may or may not want that downloaded to your computer for this multiplayer game. So those are the kinds of things that you want to look at. How many mods is it going to force you to download? Let's try this. So when you connect to the server, assuming the server is up and running, then it will launch the game with the map automatically, or if there are mods involved, it will download those mods before it connects out to that server. All right, once you spawn in, you are free floating in the game without a vehicle. You'll notice that there are folks who are in the game out there. So the first thing you want to do is hit escape to bring up your menu, and then you want to pick a vehicle. And the only vehicles that are going to be available to you are the ones that are with BeamNG Drive, or that the developer, or the host rather, allows you to have. Okay? So it's not going to be every mod that you have. In fact, your mods won't even show up unless the host happens to also allow you to use those. So just for the sake of argument, you know what? Let's do the old school Fall Guy. When you do this, you want to spawn new. Do not replace current. You want to spawn new. All right? And then there is your vehicle in the multiplayer game. Now, I don't know anything. I don't recognize any of these multiplayer names. So, I don't know what they're doing. And I don't know how friendly they are. So, there's no telling what is going to happen. Looks like somebody may have dropped out. But we can head over in this general direction. They're probably having a race or something. You may notice some stuttering while you are playing multiplayer, because anytime a vehicle spawns in and or there is a synchronization that is happening, the game is going to pause a moment for that to happen. When you're done, you want to go somewhere else. There's a quit. I can quit. Hang on, I'm going to watch these guys real quick. There we go. Oh, that didn't go well. So I can quit out of there, and once you quit, that will take you back to your main menu. Again, I can go to multiplayer, and I can pick a different map. Real quickly, I'm going to show you once you're done, right? So if I quit, it's going to disconnect from the BeamNG launcher. The BeamNG launcher will close. Now, if I go directly into BeamNG, you'll notice I still have the multiplayer option, but it's not going to work because I have not launched from the BeamNG launcher. Okay, so just be aware of that. Also, there's a chance that the multiplayer function breaks other mods, so you may have to go to the repository, go to your mods manager. Notice that one of the other things that happened is it deactivated all of my other mods. So that's kind of a pain. All right, so there you go. The beginner's guide to BeamNG Drive for, update Alpha 0.30. Got any questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories? Feel free to leave those down in the comments section below. Got something I missed? Please please let me know, and I will attempt to add that to the video and or make a part 2 with pieces and parts that you all want to see. I'm davidinark. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to all of the folks who support the channel. I appreciate it so much. Hey, we'll see you next time. Have a great day.